So, I wanted to start out this video. That's a interesting thing about rap. I was thinking about how I was just sort of like slurring my words because like when you try to be a white boy rapping like me, then like naturally you'll try to like pronounce less of your words because it doesn't sound as good if you pronounce all of your words. But now that I think of it, this actually sounds like Kendrick Lamar when he's rapping sometimes, so maybe that's not correct all the time. Maybe it's. But what does it mean to like pronounce the whole word or pronounce like words aren't really like tied necessarily to how they're spelled. I mean, look at like thought. Do you pronounce that thou gut? But anyway, so I wanted to discuss the anime. Anime. What does anime mean to me? And so, as a sort of like a watermark for this channel, like if there was to be some sort of label to come up on the screen right now, unbeknownst to me, like, this guy's a dumbass. Like, I was watching the video for Take 5 by Dave Brubeck, and like Take 5, Dave Brubeck appears at the end, and I'm like, that's so cool. It's like a title card. And it's just one of my like autisms where I'm just like, there's this one little thing that I'm like, oh my god, it's so cool that they're able to do that. Like, for instance, I don't know what other music video they have stuff like that in, but if you like just put like murder in the middle of a music video that's like all like nice and fun, then I'm gonna be like, yeah, you know, man. Real shit. So what does anime mean to me? Well, anime means sort of these like full ass emotions. Anime means like full expression. Anime means sort of expressing beyond sort of the apparent need, which I suppose is like maybe more necessary in like Confucian or like Sinosphere countries, because it's more like that vibe. I don't know. It's more like the language you speak is inherently tied to like the society you're in. So there's less of a particular like signature that you can give to your language. It's not like you can be all like ooh 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 ooh. So anime is a response to that, where it's like the language in anime is all kind of fucked up. It's like anta baka, and the expressions are all like extremely huge and all that. So broccoli. Oh, a good example of that, the text on the screen is the song by Big Sean, where he goes like ass, 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 ass. And then it's just ass in like 80 different languages. That's a very good example. Collard greens. Is that an example in collard greens by Schoolboy Q? I think it is, because there's like something like a caption that comes up like, this is some cool shit, yo. And you're like, yeah. Or some sort of brand that comes up and it works with like the pace of the song. I don't know, is that connected? Where like the language is really important to people. It doesn't even necessarily have to mean anything. like, in a different context, just because of different pragmatics and differently linked sort of like subaltern thoughts. Like, like two people might be like, yeah, we need to fight oppression, but one guy is like Black Lives Matter and the other guy is just on some bullshit like stop it with the fucking vaccines. This is the same as the Holocaust. Also, the Jews did 9/11. Some bullshit. So, this is where I don't really put much import into substance. It's more like conveying the pure feeling. That's what I'm all about. And I find that to be anime. It's not necessarily important what you show, it's more important how you show it. How is this gonna tie to the original topic of the video? Oh well, it's good to have videos where there's multiple topics. Because, okay, so I've been watching a bunch of Korean movies, so I wanted to have that as a sort of prelude, yeah? And these are the movies I've been watching. This is the most recent, Romantic Island, and I'm clicking on I give it a 6 out of 10. It has Lee Sun-kyun, Soo Kyung, Lee Min-ki, Yoo Jin Kim. Well, I don't know any of these actors because I'm a fucking pleb. But so, how would I rate this movie, Romantic Island? Overall, I think it's a kind of chill movie. It lets you chill out. It's not very interesting. So the plot is basically you have these 3 different couples. One is this guy who really wants to dome himself because he's a failing businessman. One is this long-haired guy who works at a convenience store, and he has a low sort of self-esteem. One is this businessman who's kind of dealing with family situations in the Philippines. Then also, so who they couple off with, the guy has his wife, and I guess he learns to appreciate his family. The guy who wants to dome himself. The long-haired convenience store worker has this K-pop idol who's all sort of dramatic and neurotic. And the businessman, who we actually focus more on the perspective at the beginning of the movie of this girl who so she comes home from work and she gets kind of reprimanded by her boss, and he's like, oh, so the workplace fuck up is going on a fucking vacation. Well, fuck you. And she comes home with chicken and shit, and she's like, yo, I got chicken, yo, let's pig out. I got chicken, I got craft beer. And her whole family is her father isn't to be seen. Her mom is just like, I'm chilling, I'm just watching TV, I don't care. And her brother is inside playing video games or something. And her mom is all like, hey, we need more money for your brother's education. So the whole vibe is sort of she wants to go on to the Philippines because she tries to have fun with her family, but it's just oh god, you guys are such downers, So she was kind of my favorite character in the movie because I get that energy, and it sort of made me think of how the culture was changing in South Korea at the time, because this is a Y2K This movie was made in what, 2008. It's actually later, I guess, in the decade, but still it has that sort of like, film grain definitely isn't the right word, but like it has the 2000s look. Like I think 2000s movies have like more of this, they look a bit more like 70s movies. Like the daytime scenes are a bit like, they have a lot of bloom to them. Like they have a lot of like overlighting to them, but that also makes sort of the darker elements, it looks stuff, it makes stuff look bright, right? But it doesn't really look natural, so it makes it look sort of like it was actually dark. I don't know how to fully explain it, but like it makes it look old or something, and I kind of like it. It has very nice looking beach scenes in, I think it was Malaysia, and like Curaçao, Curacay. So yeah, that's that movie. How long is this video gonna fucking take? Romantic Island. Masquerade. I watched that with my grandma. So Masquerade, I was told this is like a really like gangbusters movie that's really interesting. It was okay. Like, it was a kind of movie that I thought was gonna have a lot more stuff watching it than it turned out to have. So how this movie goes is, man, how am I gonna change my review style? I can go near that light. How this movie goes is, this jester acrobat guy, he gets the office of the king because he looks just like the king. It's the same actor playing the jester as the king. And so he basically makes stuff lit. He's like, I'm gonna do a land tax because fuck y'all. Equality, justice. I'm for my people. Yo, we we live here. What's the phrase? We die here. We play here. I forget. We do here. We are here. We out here. We out here. Whoa. It has Lee Byung-hun, and it's sort of interesting, I guess. This is why you should make a review only if you're like really enthused about the movie. I don't know. I was sort of thinking, right, that like I wouldn't be able to make these movie reviews, you know, if I set it out for too far in the future. Like, when did I review these anyway? There was that movie Tidal Wave that I already did a review of. And there's like 9 other movies. Okay, not 9, but like 3, 4, 5, 6. Like 6 movies I saw before that. So 6, that's a couple days. What is the viewpoint of people who actually have a fucking job? I know, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know, right? I don't know, right? That's a phrase. So Masquerade, I gave it an 8 because overall, like, I don't know. The whole problem is like, you have these movies where I think South Korean movies, they have this very homely vibe. They have this very chill vibe where the actors don't really like try too hard. But that can at the same time make it seem a bit like they're trying to be too cool or something. Or like in this case, it can make it seem like they're trying to be too sort of like grounded and dramatic, which I don't know. It feels like the more dramatic you are, the less grounded you can be justifiably. Like here, so you keep expecting like, oh, he's gonna anger people, and he does in the end by like saying, "We out here, yo, power to the people, y'all." But I don't know. Maybe I just didn't follow it, like what was happening, because I have a really small, measly brain. I don't really pay attention to things very literally. I kind of just like catch the story beats. I don't really have like a big sort of procedural vocabulary where I'd know what they're talking about. So this takes place in like 1618, and he's like, "Make Korea great again, yo. Fuck the Chinese. I'm for the Manchus." Wait, no, that I don't know, that, fuck, this video is getting demonetized now. I support Chinese people. God, this is not funny now. It wasn't funny before. Me and schoolboy hit the liquor store. Our Body. So this was a movie that I watched while I was listening to this History of English podcast, I believe were the details. And I watched this on the floor next to my grandma's bed because she's a fucking bed potato. She can't get out of the fucking bed. She's a lazy fucking whore. What is this movie? It's this Korean girl is like, man, I want to get fit. And then she gets fit. Did I remember any details of the movie whatsoever besides that? Well, she says that she likes older men to her boss to get a favor in her job or something. And her sister also wants to run because she's like, oh, I respect my older sister because she respects her body. Okay, for this movie, I just want to say, Snoop Dogg does not respect the fact that you can only see running as a chore. Running is a beautiful thing. Sometimes I like to get outside when I smoke weed. You know, so here's a story. I didn't expect to tell a story even after I said here's a story. But so like one time, like I skipped school, and what was I listening to? I was listening to 9 Inch Nails, the album by 9 Inch Nails. I forget which one. Not Pretty Hate Machine, but the big one. Now I'm being calm. You know, March of the Pigs is on it. All that stuff. So I'm skipping because I'm just like, fuck this. You know, I'm already late anyway, or something like that. I don't know. And then, so I bike all the way, because I live in Fort Hunt. I bike all the way. Ooh. This is the vibe now. This is just me hanging out by myself. You know? In the first place, I need an excuse to talk to myself, even if this video isn't... Is it? Yep, guys, it's spilling. There was... Oh, God, there's so much fluid in here. Oh, God. And what brand is this? It is a Polar sparkling seltzer water. That's some juicy shit, y'all. And we have some fog. Oh, God. So, yeah, me listening to that album, and then I bike all the way to National Harbor, which is in Maryland. And so, then in National Harbor, it's weird because it's sort of like a city center, but or like a very small city center. But then there's also just apartments, and there's apartments which are like, they looked really fake to me. They had like asphalt and all that. You know, it makes you think that like none of this is real. None of this suburb shit. You know, there's one thing if you have cities, though maybe some Travis Bickle would come along and say, this isn't real either, but, I mean, I disagree. F-L-A. Granted, I don't know, I like cities. I mean, I like the country, right? But I like cities too. Cities are good. Cities are based, not cringe. So, in regards to the movie Our Body, ooh, the tree looks cool in that light. Flanch. Flanch. Give me Flanch. And the album with 8 tracks. Flanch. It's a great fucking album. It's fucking awesome. Supreme. I don't know. Like, that experience of like blacking out. I was watching the latest content on the Evangelion episodes 1 through 5, right? And they were talking about him being beat up by Toji, and then he runs away, and he's in like a field of flowers. And I was thinking about that. I was thinking, I really relate to that because I watched Evangelion a second time during college, during my like 6 weeks in college or whatever, how many weeks I attended when I was, 16, 17, I fucking forget. I forget everything because that's cool. It's cooler to forget than to remember. But so it reminded me of this thing where I think it can be really tempting to run away, but even after you run away, even though you feel good, it feels dubious. It feels like weird. So I think exercise has to translate this, because that's what it is to me. Exercise isn't like, you know, getting slim or whatever bullshit. It's like getting out there. That's what I like the climbing, running, swimming. I can't really swim. But that was basically my problem with the movie, because besides being bland, it was also sort of like, so there's the song by the Dead Kennedys, what was it called? Jerry Brown. I'm Governor Jerry Brown. Myra smiles and never frowns. I will soon be president. But California Uber Alice. And so it's about the sort of how hippies turned into fucking sellouts and like religious, you know, like athletic freaks who's like, you know, jog every day and then you'll be healthy. It's this sort of generation that turned from a broadly sort of like, I don't know, racist and sexist and all that stuff to just kind of venting that energy instead into like self-help, which I guess that's the best argument for like anti-racism is the only way to fight racism or whatever, is that otherwise you get fucking hippies. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. But like, that's a weird thing, really, tying hippies to yuppies. And yuppies aren't that bad. I mean, like, think of that movie with Kevin Bacon where he bikes around and then he bikes to avoid like a car, and the car just like drives straight off a bridge and slams into the ground. That's the best Kevin Bacon movie, the one where he's like biking all around. Bike Uber Alice, that's what I say. New York, I'm walking here. Oh God, Woody Allen. I should rewatch all his movies and like be like, this guy, fuck him. Man, Woody Allen is my my secret addiction, my shameful addiction. I'm ashamed. So then what's next? What's the next movie? My Tutor Friend. This is another Y2K movie. So Masquerade was filmed in 2012, and Our Body was filmed in 2018. I think I'm going to end this video soon because it's like too long. 30 minutes is around like what's like justifiable for a video. And my voice is hurting anyway. So I think I'll end it on this one thing. Okay, so this movie has Hanul Kim and Song Woo Kwon. So I found this to be an interesting movie. This was maybe like a fairly anime Korean movie, or like fairly manhwa, because okay, so what this centers around is there's this tutor girl, which South Korea I have to give props for how it like writes a lot of like female characters. Like, I don't know if like other women like these characters like as much as I do, but you know, I just give props to these characters because I'm like, yeah, that's a cool character, I relate to that character. You know, a character where it's like you're like pissed and you're also being shit on, right? And it's like, yes, this character is a character. So this is like a rom-com. My tutor friend, where so she's being forced by her mother to like tutor this guy after like a bunch of like lecherous and sort of like, you know, so on students. And so this guy, what his thing is, I don't know, is just like, so he has like, he's good at English, so he's trying to study English, but he's been held back twice because he can't read English. And so what he's trying to do is just like appease his father by getting a tutor, and in the meantime he's just sort of like in this milieu. He's like a 21-year-old is still in high school, and he's like, yo, I'm a cool guy, but he's also like a spoiled rich kid because his father is like the Korean mafia. I don't know what the Korean mafia is even called. In China, they're called triads. But so like, my fucking feet hurt now because I've been walking for 30 minutes straight. They don't actually hurt. I've just been walking weird, maybe, because like I'm filming a video and I'm speaking while I'm talking, so it's like this confabulating factor, conflating factor. And my voice hurts, so I've been breathing. And this is what I do for you guys. You should really be more charitable towards my situation. You should like this video, and subscribe right now. What did I give that movie anyway? I gave it a 7 out of 10. So this movie, of the 18 movies I've seen in the past like 5 days or whatever, I don't know, it's kind of mid, you know. It's like, it has some spunk to it, but what I'd sort of rate it as like missing is perhaps that it's really just like not weird enough. Like, for how weird of a movie it is, or like, you know, with these Korean movies where they're like, oh, she's fat and then she gets plastic surgery or something like that. You know, sometimes it can be sort of cool, but sometimes they really no-sell things. And, you know, that can be like funny in its own right, because it's like, it's not corny, it's not like overdone, but and so that can sort of present it in like this way where it's like, oh, we're treating it seriously, but we also see the sort of like granular absurdity of it, like the cracks when you get in this particular movie. It's about like the sort of like way they treat each other with politeness and all that stuff. Politeness, politics. And so she learns over time to sort of like tease him for stuff, but I don't know. I wouldn't say he's an underdeveloped character, right? But I would say, like, whatever his character is, it's a bit under shown. Like it's not that they like tell more than they show, or perhaps they do tell more than they show, but they don't really show that much in the first place with him. But it's more like, they don't really show much. It's just like a very simple character. He's violent and he's sort of just dense, like on purpose, like purposefully dense. Like, he's basically SE, like going to Myers-Briggs. He's basically SE in like the purest sort of form, where it's just like, let's go, let's go, let's go. And then you're like, okay, but, you know, could you sort of think for a moment? And then she relates things to him in like English idioms as like Korean idioms. And then he's like, yeah, four from each side. That's like when you're in a fight. So you can tell that like he has this discernment and everything, but like it's sort of, I don't know, more fog. You don't see it as properly on camera because it's too dark. Fog is too dark. And you probably also see more of the background than the foreground, which the fog is the foreground. So you could say, in the same metaphor for this movie, there's like too much background to these characters. There's not enough like foreground. It's like, I get it, the movie. The mom is like, oh, he used to get in fights, but he's always been a very kind boy, or stuff like that. He never started the fights, or stuff like that. So I guess this is just what I find interesting about movies is, in the first place, it's hard to, you think, like, as you grow up, that, like, people are like, oh, yeah, it's that guy, but then you're like, oh, wait, they're not thinking that, or, like, maybe they do think that, but then they say it, and then it's, like, off their mind. So, like, equivalently, I think of this with certain people where, like, I see their face and I expect their personality to be like this or that. But then when you, like, inquire more, it's sort of, like, imperfect. And it's like, oh, it doesn't really reflect that. And he's actually more like this than like that. So I guess that's what I find interesting in movies, is how, like, a personality can be put to a face, or an appearance, I guess. Or how it can't. How it can be a bit more sort of like flat. And I suppose that's what a flat character is that you don't really get like a past and future sense for a character. Like, if you see a person and their face is a certain way, and it's sort of like lived, you can sort of tell in a way, like, oh, their past was like this, their future is going to be like this. Like goths or like punks. And certain people you can kind of get, oh, that person is like this, like they're a punk, but they're more like sort of flat overall. So that's my review of that movie. And with that, I'm saying goodbye to you. Wait. Yeah. So, like, I don't know. Try to escape.